be talking about your questions today. Today's speakers, besides myself, my name is Mark Bishop. I'm Vice President of Policy and Communications with the Healthy Schools Campaign. We also have three excellent speakers, David Holly from the Green Cleaning Network and the Ashton Group, Mervyn Brewer with Salt Lake City School District, and Michael Smith with Western Washington University. We'll be doing more detailed introductions of all of our speakers as before they present. One thing you should know is both Mervyn and Michael are participating here today as past winners of the American School and University Green Cleaning Award. They came in, they have excellent programs that have been recognized for their excellence, and just coincidentally, the award application is actually open for the 2012 award. So if you know a school, if you have a distributor, if you are aware of some excellent programs going on, go to asumag.com, Green Cleaning Award. You can see the link on the bottom of the page, and download the application, get your school to apply, and we'd love to see those applications roll on in. A little bit about me. In my organization, Healthy Schools Campaign, we are a for-profit. We're located here in Chicago, but we have programs and policies. We have programs that are both national and regional in scope. We work on the intersection of asthma and obesity in the school environment, and we believe in the common sense notion that a healthy student is going to be a more successful student. And we have a responsibility to provide healthy environments for all of our kids. As for green cleaning, we started working on this in probably 2004 when we did our work with Chicago Public Schools, but in 2006 we partnered with Steve Ashton and David Holly to publish a quick, easy guide to green cleaning in schools, which has become our standard for how to talk about green cleaning and how to engage school stakeholders to improve their cleaning programs and make them safer, healthier, and better support school sustainability and health programs. And it's not just about a guide, but it's about education, engagement. It's about our ongoing promotion, speaking, getting information out to the stakeholders, and partnering with national organizations. We have more than 25 organizations that we partner with to help get the word out. We're always looking for more, but we have a wide distribution. We want to make sure that green cleaning is the top is on the agenda for every school, so we have a healthier environment for all of our kids. And again, as we're about to get started, just to frame this, what is green cleaning? I want to make sure that we all have the same common understanding. But green cleaning is about cleaning to protect health without harming the environment. And that's a very deliberative wording. It's about protecting health first, but cleaning is about protecting health. Because we keep our schools clean, not because we believe shiny floors are important, or not because we believe that we have to impress people that come into the building, but we clean our schools because we have to protect the occupants and make sure that they are healthy and ready to learn. Schools have responsibilities to teach our kids, and without a healthy, clean environment, they're not going to be successful. Green cleaning takes it a step further about not harming the environment, both the indoor and the outdoor environment. From an indoor perspective, we want to make sure we're reducing exposures to toxic chemicals, make sure the air quality that students are breathing, the surfaces that students and teachers are touching are not going to have negative impacts to their health. And we want to make sure the outdoor environment is also by reducing the environmental footprint of the products and the impact of the products that we are purchasing have. Why do we focus on schools, the Healthy Schools Campaign? Despite, while our name is Healthy Schools Campaign, that might be one giveaway, but the reality is we believe that education is a top priority, and that for schools to be successful, we need to have healthy students, and to have healthy students, we need to have a healthy environment. Remember, schools are different environments than most. They're different than our homes. They're different from our office buildings. We have lots of people close together. We use these buildings differently. We have a population in these buildings of students that have different health needs, that have different less developed immunity systems, that have different behaviors, that touch and roll around in the dirt and come inside and touch things and put things in their mouth. They act differently, and we have to make sure that we have an environment that supports their health. Okay, thank you. Having said that, let's get started with our presenters. Before I introduce David Holly, I'm going to ask a quick question. So I've got a question for everyone who is out there on our webinar. Poll question 1. What do you see as the biggest challenge to implementing new technology in a green cleaning program? While you answer the question, I'm going to introduce David Holly. David is a director with the Ashkin Group and the deputy director of the Green Cleaning Network. He's an industry veteran with over 30 years experience in senior management levels in every facet of the cleaning industry. He's a co-author of 4 books, including The Green Cleaning for Dummies, The Business of Green Cleaning, and we can't forget The Quick and Easy Guide to Green Cleaning in Schools. He's also co-founder of the Green Cleaning University. David works with companies, government agencies, and organizations to assist in the development and implementation of green cleaning programs. He's also a regular speaker on green and sustainability issues in conferences around the world. So let's real quick see what our answer is. And it looks like top, the challenge is cost. It looks like an almost even distribution of cost, number 1, followed by training and employee adoption. So that's interesting because I think our speakers are going to be talking about all of those issues. Having said that, let's get back to David. David, the floor is yours. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate the opportunity to participate in this important webinar. And that poll was very interesting. I guess I'm not surprised. Cost is always mentioned, but I was very gratified to see that training and employee adoption were right up there. Because frankly, I believe if we do training right, employee adoption falls into place and cost starts to become much less of an issue. And I think you'll hear about some very interesting things from our next 2 speakers in those areas. I'm only going to take a couple of minutes to kind of frame the issue that the next 2 speakers will be talking about. And to start off, I want to define a couple of terms, just so we're talking about things the same way. Next slide. Yeah, the first term is technology. I don't know about you, but when I typically hear the word technology, I tend to think about gizmos and gadgets and tools and things I can hold. But in reality, when we look at the definition of technology, we see it's much more than that tool or that thing we can hold. It's really an application of knowledge and practices and theory and methods and skills to getting something done and to getting something done effectively. So as we listen to the speakers today and they talk about technology, you're going to hear much more than we use this tool to measure this thing or this tool to do this thing. But it's really about the totality of what they're doing and how that really impacts green cleaning. And I think that's one of the things that's really exciting about the 2 speakers you're going to hear from. Next slide, please. The other term I want to touch on is green cleaning. And Mark, I think you did a real good job of getting that definition of cleaning to protect health without harming the environment. That's very important. One of the things I find as I'm traveling and talking with folks is there's still a tendency to think of green cleaning in terms of products. If I'm using something that's certified by this agency or that agency, I'm green. But in reality, green cleaning is much more than the product, as I think many of the folks in our audience know. And one of the key parts of green cleaning is avoiding risks, preventing problems, of doing things in a way that doesn't come back and remove, but more helps avoid and prevent problems. And to that end, one of the key components of green cleaning that unfortunately doesn't get talked about enough, I don't believe, is that we have to clean effectively. Again, it's not just a matter of using a product that's certified, but it's effectively cleaning to remove contaminants, to prevent health issues, to prevent environmental issues. So as you listen to the next 2 speakers, as they talk about technology, I'm sure you're going to hear how that they wrap that around to make very effective cleaning. And that really, in my mind, is at the heart of green cleaning. Certainly there are products and equipment that are involved, and we'll touch on those in just a second, and processes. Next slide. When we think about the products that we use for green cleaning, some of the key issues, obviously, are we need to reduce toxicity. Again, we're trying to prevent health issues. We're preventing exposure to problems. But going beyond that, as we look at our manufacturers and suppliers, we want to challenge them to help us find ways to reduce product consumption. to reduce energy consumption, and certainly to reduce water consumption and waste. So again, when we think of products, it's more than just what's in the product, but how does the product help us achieve these other goals? And we think of equipment. And we're talking about reducing or preventing harm to individuals. Well, that includes the people who do the work. So we need to consider the ergonomics of the equipment. We want to make sure the equipment doesn't cause problems for the people who are using it. We want to make sure the equipment's durable. It's easily repaired. It's kept on the job. Because the best piece of equipment doesn't do any good at all if it's sitting broken in the janitor's closet. So when we look at equipment, we look at things like durability, repairability, and ultimately recyclability. What happens when that piece of equipment reaches the end of its useful life? Can it be reclaimed? Can parts of it be recycled? Can it be rebuilt and reused? Those are all parts of the things we need to think about when we think about the technology of green cleaning and how we continue to push the envelope forward. Next slide. And then, of course, there are the processes. You're going to hear from the next two speakers about testing. You know, as Mark alluded, it's not about shiny floors. It's not about not seeing dust on the windowsills or dust on the desks. But we need to make sure that the surfaces that the students, instructors, and staff are touching are safe to be touched. If you think about a typical kid, especially a young kid, whatever they touch is instantly transferred to their face. You know, they'll touch the desk, they rub their eyes, they rub their nose, they rub their lips. So whatever they're touching is coming into them. So surface cleanliness, surface safety is incredibly important. And technology can help us in terms of understanding what's happening on that surface, measuring it, and controlling it. The same thing's true of air sampling. Obviously, we're walking through a sea of contaminants. I remember when I was a kid looking through looking at the sun come through the picture window of my parents' house and being amazed at all the dust that was dancing there. And then realizing, gee, it wasn't just in front of that window. That's what we walk through every day. And so when we consider air sampling techniques and technology, it helps us measure what we're doing from a vacuuming, dusting, and dust control standpoint to ensure a healthy, high-performance environment for our students and staff. Equally important, and it came through in the poll, training. Now, employee adoption depends dramatically on the way the employees are trained. And part of that comes down to helping them understand why what they do is so important. Beyond saying this is what you need to do this, this, this. When we think of training, we need to help our employees understand why it's important. That helps them make better decisions when they're on the job and certainly contributes to a better feeling about what they accomplish on the job, which improves morale and ultimately improves performance. Work management is a process, understanding what's going on, reporting it, and correcting issues. Quality control reporting, another technology process that's growing in leaps and bounds in the recent years. And it's more than just reporting for reporting's sake, but it's helping to understand and manage what's going on, correct problems, correct issues, and continue to improve the process. And finally, moving forward, we start to look at things like sustainability reporting. What are we really doing to reduce chemical consumption, water consumption, energy usage, improve our waste stream management, and so on? All of these are technology processes that are becoming available now, and frankly, this is a very exciting time. So as you listen, next slide, as you listen to the next two speakers, I hope you'll listen carefully not only to the tools that they use, but importantly the processes, procedures, management, and the overall overarching goals that they're trying to achieve. This is an exciting time for green cleaning. We've been working on this for years. The technology is catching up and helping us go even further. So I'm excited to listen to the next few speakers, and I'm sure you will be as too. So thank you very much, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you so much, David. Now we're going to move on to our first speaker, Mervyn Brewer. But before we do so, we're going to ask a quick poll question of everybody. And the question is this: what technologies do you presently use in your cleaning program? And you can select all that apply. All right, and I will introduce Mervyn. Mervyn Brewer, he's an assistant custodial supervisor for the Salt Lake City School District. He's worked there for 33 years and was an elementary high school head custodian for 10 of those years. During Mr. Brewer's tenure as supervisor, he's been a key member in building the custodial department's green cleaning program, for which the Salt Lake City School District. Mr. Brewer is also one of 3 supervisors for the district's integrated pest management program. In 2008, they were the 28th school district in the nation to be awarded the EPA's IPM Star certification for their program. So congratulations. On that, let's look at our poll, and then we will bring on Mervyn. And the poll looks like: what technologies do you presently use? 70% say water-based cleaning, 60% say microfiber, and 33% touch-free cleaning. So it looks like there is a lot of adoption, and we look forward to hearing now from one of the leaders in Mervyn. So it is all yours. Take it away, Mervyn.
Well, we'd like to cover our experience in the Salt Lake City School District with new technology and green cleaning. Particularly, we'd like to talk mostly about how we created buy-in, how we got into this. Next slide. So a little bit about us in the Salt Lake City School District. There are 36 schools in our district. In May of 1999, a 10-year construction program was implemented to rebuild or to retrofit all of the schools in our district. So pretty much everything we've got is new or rebuilt in the last 10 years, refurbished. Our students are from all over the world. We make up ethnic minorities make up 53% of our students. And the district serves a significant refugee population from Eastern Europe and African countries. The school district employs approximately 2,800 people, including 1,250 teachers, and there's about 24,000 students in our school district. Next slide, please. Something very significant about us is we're unique in that we have a system where the district has a custodial supervisor, and that person is directly over the decision-making for the entire custodial department. Our principals don't have direct supervision over the custodians. The decision about chemicals and processes are made on a department level, and that makes us pretty unique from a lot of other districts. Next slide, please. So what's our direction? Our green cleaning initiatives are to create a teaching environment that is conducive to learning and provides protection of the occupant's health while reducing impacts on the environment. And we believe in pursuing an effective approach to green cleaning for health that relies on the use of easy-to-follow cleaning practices united with the use of current green technologies, and employ training that will allow us to be environmentally sensitive. So how did we get to this point? Next slide, please. Well, the first thing is we had to find out what green cleaning was. We had to find out what others were doing, and we had to find out what green cleaning was. We needed input, as Johnny Five would say. We need input. Where did we get that? Well, periodicals, such as American Schools and Universities magazine was very helpful. Webinars were very helpful in teaching us what was green and what we should probably do. Vendors are very helpful in giving you information on green products and green equipment, and going to conferences put on by different various organizations where they talk about green cleaning. Next slide, please. Well, then we needed to get educated. Once we heard about what green was and about some of the things that people were doing, we needed to find out how and why these new products and processes worked, what made them tick, what possibly could be a benefit to us, and what was of absolutely no value to us. Next slide, please. Then we had to evaluate our own program. How are we cleaning, and with what chemicals are we cleaning? What is it that we saw or we liked about green cleaning that we're already doing? And as a matter of fact, as this photo shows here, several years ago we had changed to a water-based, low VOC gym floor sealer. The reason at the time was because our gym floors with the old urethane gym floor sealers were yellowing, and over time they were looking terrible. The white circles in the middle of the floor looked terrible. So we found that not only could we go to this water-based system and be environmentally friendly, but it was better on our floors, it was easier to maintain, it was easier to fix problem areas if they occurred. Next slide, please. And so that was one of the areas where we were already using a green process and a green chemical. Well, once we found out what we were already doing and we had some idea of what we wanted to do through our education, we created a committee, an evaluation committee. We got together custodians from all over our district, a few custodians from, say, a head custodian of a high school, junior high schools, elementaries, even down to what we call sweepers, which are part-time custodians. And we put this committee together. We made sure it was a very diverse committee. We didn't want people to just be yes men and say, oh, yeah, that's a great idea, sir. We think that's good. We wanted people who would challenge us, people who would say, well, I don't know, let me think about that, and actually look into the products and look into the processes that we were talking about possibly doing. We had to educate the committee. We had to give them the knowledge and information that we had about certain products, certain processes. Why do these work? Why are we thinking about going to those? We had to give assignments. We would have to ask certain people in your building, would you be willing to try this? Would you be willing to try that? Would you be willing to look at this piece of equipment? And then we had to encourage them to network. We had to ask them to go out amongst their peers and talk to other custodians and get input, to give ideas on, hey, we saw this really neat product. Here's what we know about it. What do you guys think about it? And get that kind of a networking going with our custodians. That way we could get a really good cross-section, a good look of what our custodians felt about these products, these processes, and this equipment. Next slide, please. Follow-up is very important. This is the form that you see here on the right-hand side that we used from one of our meetings. It has the names of all of the custodians who were present at that particular meeting. There was an area where we wrote down the positive features of the piece of equipment we were looking at and the negative features, the negative feedback. So in our follow-up meeting that we would set, we would get these positives, these negatives, and any recommendations that our committee members had on these products or on these pieces of equipment. And of course, we documented all of this so that we would have it for future reference that we could call back on. Next slide, please. So after we had done all of those steps, we decided now's the time to set up a pilot program. We would have to choose the right place, however. To choose a place for a pilot program, we needed to find something that had the greatest need, a school that had the greatest need of something new. We had to have a place with a very supportive administrator, the principal, who would support what we were trying to do for the custodial department. And key was that we needed a good, competent custodian who could support what we were trying to do, who would give us good positive and negative feedback and not allow for the test or the pilot program to be corrupted in any way. What we found in our district was very helpful is we had several new schools built, as we had stated earlier, and as these schools would come online, it gave us a good opportunity to go out with the old and in with something new and try a completely new program or a completely new chemical system or new pieces of equipment and give it a good, honest evaluation in those buildings. We also set up a timeline. That was very important. And in our case, it was mostly 1 year that we would give them to evaluate this product, evaluate this process. Next slide, please. Again, part of the pilot program is we had to choose the right place. We had to choose a place with a good, stable custodial crew, not one that had a lot of personnel changes. If you have a pilot program going and you have a building with several people turning over in that building, it makes it very hard because you have to continually train. It can very easily sway the results of a good pilot program. And of course, training of the employees and following up with those employees was critical to make sure they were doing this pilot program as had been specified by the committee. Next slide, please. Chemicals versus process. We looked at what chemicals we liked from the different green cleaning seminars and from what our vendors had said and what our committee had said they really liked. But in some cases, the processes we were using would have to be changed to make those chemicals work properly. Here's a good case in point. This particular hallway is one of our junior high schools. It's a Green Seal certified wax. However, it costs twice as much as the conventional wax we had been using. If we continued to maintain it, perhaps in such a way that we had been doing in the past, well, it was going to cost us twice as much. There was no way we could afford to go green. However, we found that if we changed our process, if we took a more maintenance-friendly approach to this floor, in other words, instead of every year or every 6 months doing a scrub and recoat like we had done in the past and looking at more of using auto scrubbers and proper sweeping and burnishing of the floors, that we could maintain the floor without having to do a scrub and recoat for over 2 years. And as a matter of fact, this section of floor that you're looking at here is going on year number 4. Year number 4 with a Green Seal finish of not being scrubbed and recoated, and it looks like this. So we were able to actually save money by going green in this particular instance. Next slide, please. So processes, as you change processes to fit chemicals that you like, we have to train our custodians. Our custodians receive quarterly training in the latest cleaning methods, chemical changes, IPM measures, and indoor air quality updates. And here's a picture of one of our typical quarterly custodial meetings with all of our full-time custodians in attendance. Next slide, please. So what have we done? Well, we've been awarded the honorable mention in the American Schools and Universities Magazine's Green Cleaning Award for schools in both 2010 and 2011. Our department is operating with the understanding now that we are environmental stewards. It used to be that we just did our jobs because our bosses told us to. But through training, we have been able to nurture an understanding with our custodians that we are environmental stewards, that being green is very important, that being good to the environment is important, but more importantly, cleaning for the health of the occupants is vital. And how do we do that? Well, through our processes that we're currently using. Next slide, please. A question may be, in the last few years, what have you implemented in your school district? Well, in the past 5 years, what we have met as different committees and what we have evaluated are green floor finishes, HEPA-filtered backpack vacuums are some things that we have looked into and implemented into our district. Graffiti removers that are not green, they're not petroleum-based, the ones that we use. They're delimonene-based. So even though our graffiti removers may not be Green Seal certified, they are much greener than the aerosol-based petroleum products that we were spraying before. We now use microfiber rags and dusters that have been evaluated by our committee and by our district, and it's gone district-wide. Compartmentized mop buckets, Hydrogen peroxide-based cleaners for floors, for carpets, hard surfaces, and glass is something that was evaluated quite heavily. Touch-free cleaning machines, green certified auto scrubbers are something that we have evaluated in the last 5 years. And our integrated pest management program, which brought us a reduction of about 98% reduction of pesticides into our school district, was evaluated and implemented in the past 5 years. Next slide, please. And definitely going green can save you money. One of the things that we evaluated was a chemical mixing station. In the old days, most people can relate to this, it was the glug method. You would grab a gallon jug and glug, glug, glug until you felt comfortable with how much chemical you were putting in the water to get something clean. And the amount of chemical I would put in was different than the amount of chemical you would put in or the next person would put in. So there was very little consistency in the cleaners that we were using. There was very little consistency in the training. And as a matter of fact, from building to building, you would find different chemicals being used. Well, we saved money by going green and using green chemicals. Because with our chemical mixing stations, we're using less chemicals. And that's saving us money. We found that the green glass cleaners, such as the peroxide that we use, are much less expensive than some of the other glass cleaners we were using in the past. And in fact, what we use for graffiti removers are much less expensive than the graffiti removers in the past. And they aren't airborne. We're not putting something into the air that's volatile to be breathed in by the occupants nearby. By changing our process and equipment, combined with the change of chemicals, we have been able to save on labor cost. Now remember, I mentioned earlier that we used to scrub and recoat our schools every 6 months. That was a lot of labor. Imagine a scrub and recoat once every 4 years. We have definitely saved money on our labor costs. So yes, going green can save you money. Next slide, please. That's the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, I'm open.
Thank you, Mervyn. Thank you so much for your presentation. If there are any questions, feel free to post them into the box on the lower right-hand side of your screen. And we are going to now introduce Michael Smith, our next speaker. Before we do, I'm going to ask one more poll question. The question now for our audience, please, is what technologies would you consider implementing if you do not use them already? So take a look and answer them while I introduce Michael. Michael Smith is a senior technical supervisor and cleaning educator for academic custodial services at Western Washington University. He has been employed at Western Washington for 26 years and has worked in the Jan-San industry for 40. He's a certified CMI instructor and has developed his own curriculum for entry-level staff training and professional development. He's an advocate for sustainable, safe, high-performance cleaning products, equipment, and processes. One of the things that I think is so interesting is as we're talking about technology, there is such an emphasis on training because how you use things are so important, and that's definitely coming out. As for our poll, what would you consider using? It looks like, again, pretty much an even spread. We'd consider using water-based technologies, microfiber, touch-free cleaning, steam vapor. So there is obviously a lot of recognition of trying different types of products and equipment. And having said that, Michael, we'd love to hear from you and hear about your process.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's really a great pleasure to be here. As you can see, at Western Washington University, we are interested to the nth degree in green and sustainable cleaning. We've been nationally recognized for our successes. We are one of the leaders as one of the most sustainable green campuses in the nation, as rated by the Sierra Club. And we have been also named the top master's granting institution in the Pacific Northwest by U.S. News and World Report. So a little brag there. We have 15,000 students, 200 plus acres, 2.3 million square feet of academic cleaning space per day by our staff, and we provide cleaning services for Western's academic and state-supported facilities. Next slide. This is our mission statement. We just have always been of the opinion that we should be using environmentally sustainable but high-performance products and processes to support the stewardship of the campus community, which that is our job. We are stewards of the campus community, of the spaces that we have charge over. Next slide, please. We are a team cleaning organization. We have 13 teams. We have 50 plus full-time staff plus another 30 part-time student cleaners. And so we have a rather sizable organization. But we clean as a team, and we train using team cleaning. We focus, of course, on cleaning for health, as is the old adage. But we also clean for appearance as well. We do both. We try to clean for appearance and also for health, not just for health, because cleaning for health is going to, make it possible to have a clean environment with surfaces that are clean and appearing clean. I know what the arguments are about cleaning for health as opposed to cleaning for appearance. But I'm not quite an advocate of only cleaning for health. I think that needs some more definition and explanation. Next slide, please. Yes, training. Mervyn mentioned training. We're all about that. We have several different tracks for training. We do use the Cleaning Management Institute certification classes. That is, I teach the basic class, and when they pass that, they go on and do the advanced. We do a core skills and maintenance program, and we do all subjects every 2 years for our custodial staff. Leadership subjects every couple of years. We have a leadership training track, and we also do IICRC specialist training in odor control, carpet cleaning, and other water damage and restoration, which has come in handy on several occasions, to say the least. Next slide, please. This is just our timeline. We started in 1999. This goes to 2009. It just shows that moving towards sustainability is a journey, and how do we go about deciding what things we pick up and what things we don't. One, I do a lot of reading. I read 7 or 8 professional journals. I also talk to vendors. I also go to trade shows, ISSA shows, and other shows to see what's out there. Then we see that there may be a need. We are always looking toward, my goals for our cleaners and our department are better, faster, safer, not in that order. Better, faster, safer. If we can use this certain product or process or equipment to do our job better, faster, and safer, we can move in that direction and go toward that. But this is just a kind of a timeline of how we've progressed through the years. Next slide. Again, we started out just hitting some high points here. We introduced the Kaivac. We've been using touchless restroom cleaning systems since 1999. About 12 years. We use them on a regular basis during the school quarter, and we have a team that actually does Kavacing high-impact restrooms on a nightly basis. We also, as Mervyn said, we do top scrub and recoat, but our strip out cycle, now we do top scrub and recoat on a regular basis. We use for our resilient flooring. We reduce the stripping cycle to a 4 to 6 year cycle, and we do also, as Mervyn said, have a maintenance program where we burnish, we resize the floor by burnishing and auto scrubbing on a regular basis, and we have a team that does that. So we've kind of taken those particular tasks away from our teams and put them in a specialty team. One of the great things that we were introduced to early on is microfiber technology. If you don't have microfiber technology in your program, I'm afraid to say you are kind of not up with the best technology that you could possibly get. Microfibers early on used to be $18, $20 per cloth. that kept us out of the market. They came down in price, down to $2, $3. We instantly jumped on the bandwagon. We have our own washing system, and we wash and clean those on a regular basis. It's just the best tool. It's like the cornerstone technology of green cleaning, I like to refer to it. We have used up until the last year and a half green cleaning products through Sustainable Earth. That was Coastwide Labs. We reduced non-green chemical products from 67 in 2003 to 3 daily use products, and we started inaugurating Green Seal floor finishes, etc. Next slide, please. As you see, we've moved through the years, continuing to go with upgrading our view of cleaning and our view of sustainability. We look at the products and processes that we use to that. One, it's kind of like what the initial definition of green cleaning was. We kind of take it from the Department of the Interior, which has a really good one, which is should not impact the cleaner or the client, and that also would include the environment, indoor environment as well. We train, we test. We are awarded honorable mention in 2008 American Schools and University Green Cleaning Contest, and then we won the award, the National Award for the University Division in 2009, and we're very, very happy to have done that, and we do appreciate the movement that caused that to happen. Next slide. We were always looking for the chemical-free solution. I think we all, not to be militaristic about it, but we were always, cleaners are always looking for what they call a silver bullet, okay? And we started looking at activated ionized water and high-temperature dry steam vapor in place of green chemicals. We started using Active Ion. We tested it for a year and a half. As far as buy-in and all these other things, we did a beta test team, kind of like what Mervyn said. We took a team. We actually took away all their chemicals and all their anything other than the Active Ion handheld devices, and we had them test them. At first, they hated it. We trained them. We did YouTube videos. We talked to them about it. We worked on the process, etc. And eventually they said, you know what? Everything's actually looking cleaner. It's actually shinier. Everything is better. It doesn't smell. That's one of the hallmark or benchmark things we tell our cleaners. We say, if it doesn't smell like anything, you've done a good job. Okay. So there's no perfumes. I mean, we tested it back and forth. We then went with the Active Ion Ionator, which had the electroporation aspect of the thing, where bacteria and pathogens were destroyed using electrical pulse instead of chemicals. So we tested this with our beta teams, and then we did a bunch of training with the general staff, and we had a rollout. We had a partnership aspect of things. We didn't sit around and talk to them and say, what do you think about it? We said, this is what we'd like to do. These are the advantages. Here's the training. This is going to make your work easier. It's going to be better for you, et cetera, et cetera. The people, unfortunately, cleaners are some of the most resistant to change people out there. And I mean, I love them, and I love the cleaners. I love our cleaners and our staff. But with this introduction of this product or this piece of equipment and technology, we did not have, because we laid the groundwork, the partnership ahead of time. We did not have the resistance or the pushback that we'd had on other changes that we've done throughout the years. So I guess we kind of learned. So we continue to use Active Ion, even though Active Ion is no longer a viable company. The technology was licensed from Tennant. Tennant still uses the technology in Echo auto scrubbers, and of which we have several. And then we got into dry steam vapor machines, and have been using those as well for wall and tile and floor and resilient floor cleaning. And so that's our program. We've got Active Ion, which is it's not water. You're not cleaning with water. I think that's a misstatement. We are cleaning with engineered water. ionized water, and then we're cleaning also with dry steam vapor. We use no chemicals except for vinegar. Vinegar is our only big chemical product. Next slide, please. There's a couple pictures of our staff using the steam and also using the active ion product, the ionized water product. Next slide. What's next? We continue to push the envelope on green. We continue to look for alternatives, especially to acrylic floor finishes. We are using a green floor finish at this point, but you know, we're looking for alternatives to that. We're looking for more equipment using H2 Orange water only and no chemical products. The thing about using water, at least in an engineered water sense, is that you know, we have no residues. There's no chemical residues to, one, mar any surface or to give off VOCs or off-gassing into the indoor air quality environment. We've done testing, ATP testing and other testing to show that the ionized water cleaning with a microfiber wipe following is as effective as disinfectant, quaternary ammonium disinfectants, or any other thing, and it's green, 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 okay? We are doing more research into cleaning and disinfection using dry steam vapor technology, and we're also partnering with our Western Sustainability Office, which we have, investigating paper towel compost recycling, as well as low VOC and low impact hand dryers. So that's basically our product, and that's where we are now today, this very second. We are cleaning with engineered water and dry steam vapor, and we're loving it, and our people love it, and we're getting great results. So that's it for me. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. That was great. So we're going to move into the Q&A section right now. So I know we have a number of questions that have already come in. So if you have more, I know we have got right now about 9 or 10 minutes or so left. So if you have a question, type it in and make sure you leave it and let us know. In the meantime, I want to remind you all, the Green Cleaning Awards for 2012 is open right now. The applications are being taken through September 10th. So again, if you know a cleaning contractor, a school, a distributor that would be interested, share and get your schools recognized. ASUMag.com/Green Cleaning Award. Check it out. In the meantime, now I'm going to hand over to Alex Scheibel at our office in Healthy Schools Campaign to start going through the Q&A.
Great, thank you, Mark. So as Mark said, please feel free to send in your questions using that question box on the bottom of your screen. In the meantime, I'll get started. First question is for Mervyn. How did you manage to keep your floors looking so good for 4 years without stripping or re-waxing?
That's a very good question. When we started using green floor finishes, we found that they were much softer in that they had a great shine, but they would mark up. They would scuff up, get those white scuff marks a little bit easier. However, our daily regimen is to dust mop the floors at least twice a day. And then in the evening, we go over our floors with our auto scrubber with a neutral cleaner to get all the grit and clean them very good. And then we burnish them. We burnish them with high-speed burnishing technology. And we do that on a daily basis. So is it a little more labor-intensive there? Yes. However, you can see the results on the floor. Those green finishes have held up very, very well, and that was at junior high school.
Great, thank you, Mervyn. Our next question is if one of our speakers could explain what is touch-free cleaning.
How about me?
Go for it.
Yeah, touch-free cleaning is it's basically, there are other machines, other brands of machines that do this, but you would come in with a Kaivac in our case, You would spray down, in a lot of people's cases, a distributed chemical through a pressure nozzle. You distribute that on the surfaces of the restroom. Then you would come back, you have your allowable dwell time. We just use water. Then you come back with a 300 to 400 psi, needle spray, and you rinse everything off from the bottom to from the top to the bottom down onto the floor. And then it has a wet dry vac or wet vac capability where you suck with a squeegee wand, suck all that effluvia into the recovery tank. In other words, you take all that soil out of that environment and you put it in a tank and you pack it out of that area, never to return. So that's and you don't really touch anything. You just use the spray nozzle. The water spray nozzle does everything pretty much, and the wand. So that's why they call it touch-free.
Great, thank you so much, Michael. Another question, which I believe is for Michael, is if the only chemical you use to clean is vinegar, what about MRSA?
MRSA, well, the thing is that it's not, that's the MRSA and other pathogens like that are destroyed and cleaned by the electroporation process. In other words, electroporation, I don't know, you could maybe look it up, have a better definition than the one I'm going to give you, is the electrical pulse is applied to the cell of the pathogen, whether it's MRSA, whether it's rhinovirus, whatever it is, bacterias, and then it actually opens the cell walls of the pathogen to the point where they just kind of disintegrate. So you don't actually use a chemical to poison the germ or the virus or whatever. You're using a mechanical, physical process through electrical pulse. MRSA is taken care of with that. There's no problem with that as far as the electroporation process goes. It's very effective on all of those things.
Great, thank you, Michael. Thanks. And another question we have is, what is the biggest change you've made in your program in the past few years? And so Mervyn or Michael, feel free to answer that.
Go ahead, Mervyn.
Well, probably our biggest change, would be going green, but I would say in our floor care. Definitely our floor care. Just the fact that we don't have to do that scrub and recoat every year. That's one of the biggest. Going to microfiber and the education that our people have received is, well, I guess that's a big change too. The fact that our people have received the education as to why they're cleaning, that they're actually cleaning to remove things, not just cleaning because the boss says to do it. So, man, we have learned a lot. It's hard to pinpoint one thing as being the most, the biggest area, the most impactful.
Yeah, if I could jump in on that same question, I think one of the greatest changes that we've done is to go chemical free. I mean, it's huge. It was like jumping off a cliff, but we did our research and did our homework, and it worked. The other thing would be, because we've been in green cleaning for 10 years at least, the other thing would be, like Mervyn said, education and training. That is one of our top things. That's what I do. We've trained and taught, certified at least 50 of our 50 staff on basic cleaning techniques. They're all certified and with national certification organizations. So it's training, and it's moving ahead with innovative processes and processes that are less and less and less impactful, but still do the job.
Great, thank you so much. Next question is for Michael again, wanting to know a little bit more about the beta test trials that you did, and specifically, did you compare your results with water-only cleaning?
Actually, yeah, we we went out and we did use an ATP metering. We did test. We did not test against water only. We tested against dry steam vapor, and we tested against quaternary ammonium disinfectant in restroom situations. We tested 3 to 4 different areas on each one. Pre the test, what was the reading before? Very high, 800 parts. We went and we tested it after we'd used quaternary ammonia disinfectant. It was lower, etc. So we did not test against plain water. I've often wondered that if you use plain water and a microfiber, if you could get extremely good results. And we continue to test, and we will. That's a good suggestion. We will continue to look at that. But yeah, as far as the beta testing, yeah, the active ion or the ionized electrolyzed water did at least as well, or in some cases even better, at reducing the ATP levels than the other 2 techniques. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
Great, thank you, Michael. I think actually this is going to be our last question as we approach 2 o'clock. We've had a couple of questions come in wanting to know about both Mervyn and Michael's relationship with their distributor and the role that they play in helping you identify new products to introduce, and then any role in training that they play as well.
Want me to go ahead and go first on that?
Sure.
Sure.
We have several vendors that we do business with, and they are very anxious to get our dollars, and so they are very anxious to show us the newest and the latest and the greatest and what they offer. We have been fortunate in that we've made the decision not to go proprietary with one particular company and use all of their products. We have shopped around to see what products will work with the processes that we use. And so we use products from several different vendors. And same with our equipment. We don't go with equipment. We're very careful with how we screen them and how we pick them, and again, how we evaluate them and how they will fit into our program.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We have local vendors that we are really very loyal to us. They love to come and demo products and things for us. We have to kind of hold at arm's length every once in a while because, I mean, we'd be demoing every day. But that, and we also have like Coastwide Labs. We use them for various and sundry things. There's other vendors, but they're very helpful and they're very supportive of our program. And you know, we do appreciate the vendors for their training and the products that they introduce to us. So they most of the time you try to fit them into what you're doing, what your program is. So, but it's very good to have local vendors that are supportive and strongly support us. So, thank you.
Great, thank you. And actually, we're going to throw in one more question for Michael. Doesn't the smell of vinegar break the odor-free rule? Is that something that you could speak a little bit about?
Yeah, I said vinegar. Maybe I shouldn't have even mentioned it. It's acetic acid. It does have a smell to it. We don't use it as a general cleaner. Some people, we kind of have given it, left it up to the teams what they want to do. Some of them want to leave a little vinegar in the urinal drain holes, you know, just to combat scale and things like that. Yeah, everything but vinegar, put it that way. Yeah, vinegar does smell. In fact, we almost had a problem in our chemistry building. We were using vinegar to abate some ice melt, alkaline ice melt in the hallways and things, and some of the chemistry professors started to panic. They thought there was an acetic acid generator spill, you know, and we had to say, no, it's just vinegar. It's just vinegar. Yeah, I guess if you want to put it that way, that would break our no smell thing. But we don't use it on a general basis. We don't use it for general cleaning. So it was only where we needed some sort of a little bit of an acidic boost, then we use it, but very little.
And I'm going to jump in with one thing that you mentioned to me offline was you're not buying vinegar from the store. You're purchasing it through a distributor, and you have MSDS sheets, MSDS records in your files.
Yes. Right. No, we don't just go and buy it from the local grocery store, because then we wouldn't have MSDS. But the thing about vinegar is that you need MSDS if it's used in anything other than a home usage situation application. If you're using it on a daily basis or in an industrial setting, you do need an MSDS sheet, even though it's a total natural product. So anyway, thanks for that. Thanks for asking that.
Okay, on that note, I know we have more questions still, but we're a little bit after the hour, so we're going to wrap up here. I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, our final webinar of our series is in 2 weeks, Making the Financial Case for Green Cleaning. That's going to be on August 29th. We're going to have some great speakers on that one as well. I have to say thank you all for joining us. Thank you, David Holly. Thank you to Mervyn and to Michael for sharing all of your experiences. We will have this webinar archived and up on our website, as well as have slides that are downloadable. Please take the poll question, and we thank you for joining us for today. Have a great day, and we will wait until we speak to you next time. Bye-bye.